The year was 2020. The Nether update was just released and everyone's favorite new structure, the Bastions, were just added. They were challenging, rewarding, and above all, really fun to explore. Since then, we have had some incredible structures, but they also outline a major problem with the older ones. Let's talk about the Woodland Mansions. These guys were introduced way back in 1.11, the Exploration update, and as one of the rarest structures in the game, you'd expect to find some really good loot, right? But instead what you get is, well, pretty terrible. Especially considering the amount of things you have to do for it. First, you have to track down a cartographer, buy a map, and travel thousands of blocks to find it. Once you finally reach the mansion, you have to fight through hordes of pillagers and these flying bastards that you can never seem to hit, only to find out that all the chests are empty. If you're lucky, you might find some rotten flesh though. And also dark oak saplings. Why are there saplings when we're literally in a dark oak forest? Bro. The only worthwhile items you might find here are a diamond block, if you get lucky with the rune generation, and a totem of undying from an evoker, which you can also just get in a raid instead. So, yeah. Here's how everyone's first time in a woodland mansion usually goes. Oh my god, this place is gonna make me rich. Okay, maybe that one was unlucky. The second one's gonna have something. Okay, no problem. Third time's the charm. You see the problem? There is no reward that can justify the amount of prep and traveling you do to find this place, and you end up leaving feeling very disappointed. The reward doesn't even need to be an item. It could just be a place that offers something unique, like a rare mob or blocks you can't find naturally, or even a map to another structure like an ancient city. There's so much potential, yet the Woodland Mansion ends up being the second worst structure in the game, and it would have been the worst, if not for the jungle temples. These freaking structures are just horrible. First, you can only find them in the already rare jungle biome, but even if you do accidentally find one, they have these so-called traps that are supposed to be interesting and teach you redstone. And when you safely get past these incredibly dangerous traps, what's in the chest? Garbage. Maybe a diamond if you're lucky, but mostly just trash. These structures have so much untapped potential. Imagine traps with skull sensors or new mobs like monks who pray in the temple. There's so much more they could do. The underutilized potential in these old structures is a serious problem, but one that can be fixed. Updating them could breathe new life into these familiar places that players don't think much of anymore. In my opinion, the only old structures that still hold up are villages, shipwrecks, and igloos. They offer nice loot, new mechanics, and are always worth your time. But aside from these three, the rest really need some love. Just like how the subscribe button also needs some love. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe. It only takes a second and it helps me out a ton. Now, let's come back and talk about the new structures added since 1.16. There isn't a single bad structure among them, and that's because of their ingenious design. For instance, bastions actually have 4 different types that can generate, each with its own unique loot. Treasure bastions are the only place to find a full netherite ingot, while bridge bastions are the only ones with a lodestone. This already creates a lot of variety and brings me to my first point: randomness. Similar to bastions, the ancient cities and trial chambers also have randomly generated sections. The variety that this offers right off the bat is already way better than the older structures. But it's not just the layout. They also introduce exclusive elements that make each one truly stand out. All of these places introduce a unique item or mob that can only be found there, like the Warden, Piglin Brutes, and the Breeze. Iconic mobs that add so much character to their respective structures. Another major thing is how each structure delves deep into a new and interesting mechanic. The bastions focus on the bartering system by having a huge amount of gold, which earlier would have been pointless. But now with the piglins, it makes people interested in bartering. I said bartering. Even the trail ruins, which seem useless at first, are heavily focused on the archaeology system and are filled with hidden pottery shards and armor trims for those who want them. These new structures lean on a single strong mechanic, which turns them into iconic locations. They are recognizable just from their mobs or items. See a warden, and you immediately think of an ancient city, and vice versa. This is how you create an interesting place for all kinds of players. Places that offer rewards either as rare items or a rare experience. They have to be structures that players don't necessarily need to go to, but they want to go to. That is a sign of a great structure. A really good decision Mojang made recently was the addition of armor trims that can only be found in certain places, and then integrating them into the loot tables of old structures. It's a step in the right direction, making these places worthwhile to explore again. I really hope these old structures get the updates they deserve, but that's just my take on this. How would you improve these old structures? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. See ya!